All right, guys, welcome back to the shack. And today we're going to be messing around with the xTool Omni O1 printer. And before you think, okay, it's just going to be another one of those videos, it's not. Today, this video is going to be all about doing a project. And I want to emphasize a couple of features that have kind of got lost in all the marketing and all the sales videos that are out there for the machine. People keep asking me, they want to know what are some of the features that this machine has that others don't necessarily have. And so that's kind of the approach I've been taking at looking at the machine, is trying to figure those things out. So we're going to be highlighting a couple of those things in the video today and working on a project that I think you're going to enjoy the project too. So stick around and we're going to get started. All right, so some of you may be aware, and some of you actually may be going to the event, but Tuesday afternoon, I'll be preparing, packing my bags for a trip Wednesday over to Texas. I'm going to be going to the Next Level Maker Conference and hopefully getting to see some new tech and stuff while we're there. The trip's been planned for several months, and me and my buddy Steve over at Ventari's Workshop, I'll drop a link to his channel down below if you're not familiar with him. We had planned on going, and unfortunately some last minute things, some responsibilities at his day job came up, and Steve isn't going to make it to the event. So today's project is going to help ensure that, kind of by proxy, Steve gets to have some fun at the Next Level Makers Conference. And we're going to have some fun with this project. So today we're going to be taking a piece of white painted true flat plywood, and I'm going to make me a new Steve on a stick, a realistic version, who is going to be going to the Next Level Conference with me, and he's going to be in all the photos and having all the fun to bring it back so we can, so Steve can live through Steve on a stick. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to print on this piece of plywood, and we're going to cut it out with this xTool P2, and we're going to mount it to a stick, and we're taking it to an event. It's going to be a hoot in the photos. So let's get started. We got to get over on the computer. I'm going to be doing all the designing from here. The laser is here, but the UV printer is in the house. So that's where we're going to show one of the features, is the being able to work remotely with the machine. So let's get started. All right, so here we are out in the shop, guys, and I'm going to go ahead and launch xTool Studio. The cool thing, like I said, this is one of the things that I think folks that are already in the xTool ecosystem are going to love about this machine, is its interoperability with the other machines. It plays well with xTool Studio and all the other machines, and it just takes all of the machines that you have and turns them into basically just a well-oiled machine so far. So you can see this is a project that I did the other day. This is only the first one that I've done. I haven't done any more yet. So here is the little fluffy cat one that I did during the initial video. So this is only the second one that we'll be doing. So up here, once you've updated xTool Studio, and I am running, just so that we can make sure everybody knows, I am running version 1.8.22, and we'll check and make sure, and that is in fact the latest update. So if you're interested, or if you don't see these functions in your software, check and make sure you're up to date, or at least up to this date if you watch this video in the future. So the first thing is, you'll notice you have now single mode or multi-device mode available. Now the multi-device mode is being called a beta. So far it seems pretty solid. So you can do single mode, which is just printing using either the lasers or the UV printer or whatever, or multi-device. And so we're going to click multi-device for this project. But right here you've got print and cut, UV printing followed by laser cutting. And that's exactly what we want to do. So we're going to click on that and hit continue. Here's what I found pretty impressive. They even support the S1, all the way back to the S1. So you've got the S1, the M1 Ultra, the M2, the P2S, the P2, the P3. So all of the lasers since the S1 was released, it seems, are supported, other than like the UV and some of the Galvo machines. I'm assuming because this is print and cut not print and engrave. And those machines aren't ideal for cutting. So we're going to pick the original, because I have the original P2. I didn't get a P2S, so I've got the original P2. We're going to select it and hit continue. So what this does is it lets you start this file from the ground up, knowing that we're going to go from one machine to the other, and it makes it really, really fluid. So this is going to be a quick little project, because what we're going to do is we're just going to take and use a picture of Steve. Now, material wise, well, there's some 1/8" white millimeter. We'll go with that. Okay, so this is showing that there's UV flatbed settings, so we'll just go with the 3mm white MDF board. Hey, that's exactly what it is. Got lucky on that one. I didn't see it the other day. So now that we've got that in there, our setting is correct. I'm just going to bring in the picture. I need this kind of sized appropriately, and Steve is partly Sasquatch. So I'm thinking his head needs to be about, I don't know, we'll say, let me measure mine here and see where about I think we need to go with this, because I want to make it as realistic as I can. So I'm going to say mine's about 11. So we're gonna add a little bit for the hat and for him being a little taller guy, and so we'll say probably about 13 inches is where we need to go with that. And at about 330 millimeters. Well, the first thing I need to do is clean up this image and get the background out of it. So I'm going to leave the image selected, and I'm going to go over here to cutout. Now, xTool software is doing a pretty good job of this. I'm just going to tell it to do AI cutout, and it is going to go in here. Now, this does require you to be logged in to use this, and, you know, it will use a few of your little credits or whatever, but it beats having to go outside the software to find it. And you can see it's doing a pretty good job. I've got a little bit of the hat right here that got snagged. So I'm going to go over here to retain, and I'm going to come and touch this part right here up a little bit and see if I can get it to understand that and address that. And so I'm just going to paint that a little bit with this mouse. It's not the easiest thing to do. But yeah, you can see his hat is back on that side. So I think that is all that needs to be kind of corrected. That little bit right there. Maybe there's a little remove I need to do over here on this side. Maybe. Woo. No, it looks pretty good. So I'm going to go with continue. And so there we have it. Now we have Steve's head. So what I'm going to do now is keep it as big as I can. So I said I needed to be about 330. So you can see here on the height, we're at about 330. It's a good thing his head's not much bigger, or we would have exceeded the work area of the Omni. So I've got that pretty much where it needs to be, 330 tall, but now that's got his shoulders in there. So I'm going to stretch this out to try to make it a little bigger down here. Maybe we need to take the shoulders loose. Let's see about taking the shoulders loose as well. Yeah, I think that's what we need to do. We need to remove the shoulders. So we'll get this part done. I need a bigger brush. Like I said, some of these tools are pretty handy. There are other options out there that you can use. There's some free softwares and some user-made stuff out there on the internet. But I'm trying to use, like I said, just the tools that are in here, so I can show you guys how it looks. See this little area here. Try to blur that in with the whiskers. So there we go. I think that works. What is this showing up down here in the bottom? Is that a part of his shirt right here, maybe? Okay, so I'm going to go over all of this really good to make sure I don't have any artifacts left. Okay, so yeah, we're good there. So now if I do the 330, I need to get my screen back. So now if I do it to 330, his head is going to be, there we go. There we are. Look at that. Look what a big head. So there's a little bit of a buffer around his head. So I think we're good there, though. So yeah, moving on. So we're going to continue to step 2. Step 2 is going to be assign the device for this. and I'm going to assign the device to his head print, but I also need to cut this out as well. And so I've got to add a line for that. So I need to do an offset of his head. I want it pretty precise. So we'll go high precision. External, it's only going out 2 millimeters. That'll give me just enough to get away from the printed part. So I'm going to confirm with that. So we've got this part here. This is the cut. And you can see here because it says vector. And I'm going to assign it to output to the xTool P2. And I'm going to list this as a cut. And I do know, let's see, percent power needs to be up there about 90. 16 millimeters a second, 100% flow. Yeah, so we should be good. I think I actually have settings for that on the P2, but we're not going to get into all that. 16 millimeters a second. I'll go ahead and set it for 2 passes just to be sure. The cool thing about the true flat material is it's easy to clean the edges with just some water, and so that won't hurt our UV print, so we'll just clean that up afterwards. And so I'm going to hit preview. And we've got the white printed part for the face, and then we're going to do a cutout there. So, yeah, looks like we're good. And then we're going to continue to step 2. So, step 2, you'll notice it's putting these little dots into the file. So, I haven't played around with being able to move those. I kind of wish I could. I don't know that there's a way to move those. So that's one thing that may be coming, possibly, I don't know, would be can they fix it to where we could put those in other places and move those to different places, because those are kind of far out of the print area, and it's going to waste a little bit of material because of that. So, maybe that's something that I'm missing somewhere or whatever, but yeah, we might need to do that. And so I'm going to go over here. My xTool Omni O1 is showing it's not connected for some reason, so I'm going to hit switch. Now it's actually showing it's connected. So I'm going to scan, and I've already got the material in there. Like I said, I'm out here in the shop, but the printer is in the office in there, and so it works on Wi-Fi just like any other of xTool's machines. With this computer, I do have my Wi-Fi connected to the Wi-Fi as well as a hard line connected. I do have all of my xTool machines assigned static IPs on my network. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically an IP typically is going to be dynamic, meaning it's going to change every time your router resets, every time the device resets. Periodically, it's just going to get a new IP address. And sometimes with connections, that can create a problem. I've never had any big problems with it with the xTool products, but as an old habit, I tend to just go ahead and have it to set up IP already. All right, that took a few minutes, but like I said, it's a big work area today, guys. And you can see the material covers the entirety of the work area. I've got these little dots that I've got to make sure they stay in the printable area as well. I'm pretty much going to donate a full sheet of True Flat to this project, but it is going to pay dividends with the humor of having Steve in the photos with us. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and hit the preview button just to show you guys. It kind of shows you how it's going to print out in the work area, and you can tell I haven't used this machine on this software. So we've got him set up. Everything looks good. I've got it set for precision. I want to do high quality on this one, or standard. We'll do standard. So yeah, there we go. We'll go ahead and process this. No need to make it overly complicated. Like I said, I just wanted to show this feature and the fact that, keep in mind, guys, I am out here in my shop. The machine is in the house. UV printing, I'm going to go in there while it's printing, just as a precaution, in case something happens. But UV printing isn't as critical, so technically I could stay out here if I wanted to. But I will be going inside just to supervise in case something was to go wrong. So this is one of the things that xTool, I have seen with the xTool machine that I have not seen before with other machines, which I've only got experience with one, but is it will not print. Like, I keep my thermostat at a healthy 69 to 71 degrees inside my house, depending on the time of the day. And it will not print unless it heats the print heads. And so when you go to print, it'll tell you the temperature is below 30 degrees. And the reason is they recommend that because there's viscosity and some things that go on with the nozzles and the inks and so forth. And it gives you this option to heat or skip. And my thinking on that is if it's asking, I'm going to heat it up first because it's asking for a reason. They put that in place for a reason. And I do not want to ruin my machine because I'm trying to save a little bit of time. And you can see up here at the top, it says heating in progress, 25.4 degrees. It heats up pretty quick. And then it's showing the UV1 and the UV2, both print heads. And so both of them were around 24 degrees. So it's not like they're cold, but they're below what xTool has decided is optimal temperature. So I'm going to let these things warm up, and then we'll give this thing a nice little start here. All right, folks, so there we go. The machine has started. I'm going to walk inside and let this thing run for a few minutes, and then I'll bring it back out here for you guys. I'll try to get some video of it running while we're in there. All right, folks, so after a few minutes on the UV printer, I got Steve's colossal face printed. So I think it's a little overscaled, but I think it'll be fine as long as it's relative to the camera. So now the only step we've got to do now is I've got to turn the P2 on, and of course we're going to lay this material inside the work area. I'm just going to use the honeycomb or the bed slats. I'm not using the honeycomb or anything. I'm just going to lay this guy in here, making sure that the part that I want to cut, as well as those markers, are inside the view of the camera. That's it. And then we're back over into the software to finish this up. So let's finish it. All right, so it's showing that the task completed. The total time of the print was 23 minutes and 59 seconds. It's a bit oversized. I probably could have scaled it down a little bit, but we're going to push on here. And you can see here, when it brought the image in, obviously that is not going to work the way that it brought the image in, because you've got to look, the work area of the two machines are separate. So it's also showing that my P2 is not connected. So I'm going to go over here and switch to the P2. And so now it shows that we're ready. And I've got the material in there. The little dots are visible from the camera. And so this step's fairly easy. See this little button right here? You just hit the auto alignment button. Well, I think I got to focus first. So let's do that. Let's make sure to get the material thickness. This is a 3mm true flat, so it's showing us 3.13 millimeters. Okay, now that it's got that done, auto alignment. And this is the part that really did shock me, is how accurate it does this on its own without any input from me. Like literally, you just hit the button. And you can see there, it laid it on there. Pretty darn accurate. Now, I have noticed that looking at the screen, sometimes it looks like it might be a bit off, but the truth's in the pudding right here. So we're fixing to process this and cut it out, and I'll show you what it looks like once we get it completely cut loose so you can see where the cut goes to. It's showing it's going to take 2 minutes and 4 seconds. All right, so exactly 2 minutes and 5 seconds later, we're through cutting it out. I did set it to do 2 passes just to be safe. The true flat material usually cuts clean without any problems, but I went ahead and ran 2 passes just to be sure, so that I wouldn't have to start completely over once I moved my project. So there you go. It cut out the way that it should. Hot off the presses. Steve on a stick has gotten an upgrade. So what do you think, guys? I mean, Steve's got, like I said, he has a gigantic, you know, melon. This feature I think is really cool in the fact that it's not that you can't do it any other way. I mean, there are other machines that do print and cut, and you can do similar with those machines. I just think the level of simplicity and the level of just automation that they've put into this is pretty neat. Being able to do this with not only something big like this, but imagine you're doing, you know, 50 of something. I've got a job lined up that I'm going to be using this feature, and I wanted to practice it, so I wanted to bring you guys along. But I've got a job that I'm going to be doing with some acrylics that are going to be signs using standoffs into a building. I've got to do about 50 of them from what I've been told so far, as long as I get the job. And so this is a feature that's going to enable me to be able to print to plexiglass, or acrylic rather. I'm going to be able to print to the acrylic, and then I'm going to be able to take and cut that acrylic to the shape that I want, put the holes in there for the standoffs and everything with this level of simplicity. So I think that's where a lot of people have been asking me about what I think about the machine so far. And I think that if you're already in the xTool ecosystem, you have a P2, you have a P3, you have a P2S, you have a S1, you have one of the M2 Ultra, any of the compatible machines that are compatible currently. I'm sure that this software is still being evolved. But if you have one of those machines, this is kind of a good addition to be able to take more than one tool and combine them to make these projects. This was just a fun little test of the system and to demonstrate to you guys how it works. But the possibilities are pretty limitless with how you can apply this. So I think xTool did a really good job with that. So far, the machine, the Omni O1, I've been just letting it do its thing. And I haven't had any failed prints or any issues with clogs or anything like that. There are a lot of systems at work with this machine while it is not powered on. So the one thing that I have made sure to do, and I haven't heard a lot of other people talking about this, but the one thing that I've done with all my UV printers, any machine that needs to do things, you know, in order to keep from messing itself up, needs to make sure you have like an alternative power source. And in my case, my machine is ran on a uninterrupted power supply, which is a UPS. It's similar to what you use for your computers. It's actually the exact same thing you use for your computers. But what it's able to do is, in the event that the electricity goes off at my house, and there's some very important cleaning processes that need to take place in that printer, it allows the machine to be able to, you know, get through some of those spells where maybe it doesn't have grid power or whatever. Now, it's not going to power it indefinitely, so if it's like a blackout that lasts months, you're going to be in trouble. But if it's one of those little short-term things, or if you have situations to where maybe there was an accident down the street and that knocks the power out, you don't have to worry about your machine missing those very important automatic cleaning things that it needs to do. So if you have the machine, or if you're getting the machine, I think that's something that I would definitely look at adding to your setup, along with, you know, your table and so forth. You don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but to me, with it having automatic processes that take place, you know, behind the scenes, you want to make sure that it has electricity to do those processes with, or bad things could happen. But so far, my side of having to clean and having to keep track of the thing, it's doing a really good job. I did do one of the weekly cleanings that it says to do, which is basically just checking everything, wiping it off, making sure there's no excess ink anywhere, anything like that. And it was pretty simple. I went and bought some more affordable, like alcohol wipes that are lint-free to use to do the cleaning, so that it's not a big mess or a lot of involvement into it. So as I proceed and as I continue to use the machine, I'm going to drop more content. I'll share more things that I'm doing with it to you guys. But that's it, guys. So I'm going to wrap it up, and there will be affiliate links down below if you're interested in using those. I try not to beat you guys up with them. I try not to make these videos be salesy and come across as being a paid-for commercial. Although I do work with xTool, I'm not under a contract. They're not telling me what to say or how to say it or anything like that. So I hope you appreciate that style of content. And if you do, let xTool know it by using those links down there. So until next time, guys, be safe and have a good day. Oh, and if you're going to be at the next level, come get your picture with Steve. I may redo it and scale him down, but come get your picture with Steve on a stick. We'll see you guys. Be safe.